Smackdown in 2004 was not a good show, and that is demonstrated by their shockingly bad, brand-exclusive pay-per-views where they seemingly completely gave up and decided to put on the worst shows possible. I recently watched Armageddon and Judgment Day 2004, hated them both, but Armageddon was the worst offender. It felt like a bad episode of Smackdown. How did they charge anybody $55 for this garbage? Whilst the two shows that I've reviewed from 2004 could be described as turd sandwiches, two slices of bread acting as good matches with a horrible diarrhea filling representing the middle of the show, this show today is going to be different. There would be two matches to enjoy on this pay-per-view, but once again the rest of the show was virtually unwatchable. So I set myself the task of trying to find out what really was the worst pay-per-view of 2004 out of these three. It actually all starts out acceptable enough, better than the video package for Judgment Day 2004. It's clear that they're going to be focusing on three feuds tonight with lots of pro-American stuff thrown in for good measure. This one's coming at you from Norfolk, Virginia. This is the 15th Great American Bash, although it's the first one under a WWE banner, as this was originally a WCW pay-per-view. Torrie Wilson is in the ring screaming. It's nice to see her dressed up as the DVD cover. I've often found that the pay-per-views from this era had DVD covers that didn't make sense. She's just here to introduce the first match anyway. It's a fatal 4-way elimination match for the US title. John Cena, the champion, he was one of the shining lights of SmackDown from 2004. He raps on for ages, mostly about Kurt Angle for putting him in this match as the SmackDown manager. It's not one of his best raps. The challengers are Rob Van Dam. Wow, 3 opening matches for Rob in a row. Rene Dupree and finally Booker T. Here we go then. The good guys batter the Hills in the corner. RVD and Cena quickly fight, but then they're jumped by the Hills. Rob and Booker T head out of the ring, so Booker T sends him into the steps. In the ring, Rene Dupree gets a couple of 2 counts on Cena. Based on what I've seen from 2004, Rene Dupree is actually slightly underrated. Cena hits him with an inverted atomic drop only for Rene to pull the ropes down and send him from the ring. Booker T sends Rob into the ring so Dupree can work on him. He hits Rob with an X-Snapper special for a 2. Dupree puts on a sleeper hold whilst Booker T washes on. Rob comes back with that corner kick that he used to do and a split-legged moonsault for a 2. Rob doesn't let up and he hits a spin kick now and a rolling thunder for a 2 count. Rob is dominating Dupree and he catapults him out of the ring. Rob hits Cena and Dupree with a flip dive out of the ring. RVD looks the most motivated here. He gets Cena in the ring and he keeps rolling him up. He gets annoyed and he slides out of the ring and yells at Booker T for just standing around doing nothing during this match. RVD launches him into the ring and Cena almost beats him with a roll-up. Booker's getting his ass handed to him. Cena then spots that Rene Dupree is just resting too much on the outside and he forces him to face Booker T. Rene quickly hits a snap slam to Booker T. He doesn't make a cover, instead he dances and prances around. Bad choice as he runs into a Booker T spinebuster. They're both down. Rob hits Rene Dupree with a frog splash. He then kicks Cena off the top rope and to the outside. And Rob hits a 5-star frog splash to Booker T now. John Cena sneaks into the ring and he just rolls up Rob Van Dam. Didn't expect that. Booker and Dupree will now work together on Cena. They eventually turn on each other. Cena smacks them both down. Booker's eyes almost pop out of his head after the throwback. Booker T assists John Cena on an FU and then he hits the scissors kick to Cena. Booker covers Dupree and that's him gone. He can't get the 3 on Cena though. Booker T controls Cena for a while. He's slowly getting more and more desperate. He just wants to be more famous, damn it. Cena makes his comeback. He hits a slam and a 5-knuckle shuffle. John Cena pumps up his little shoes, but it doesn't help and Booker T almost rolls him up. Then Booker just straight up kicks his face off. Booker misses the scissors kick and Cena just picks him up and hits the FU for the 3. The match went okay, but it was kind of simple and straightforward. It was really missing any interesting moments and it got really boring when RVD was eliminated. 2 stars is fair for the opening match. The cameraman follows Cena backstage. Charlie Haas and Jackie say congratulations to him on his victory. Cena tells Jackie that he has a gift for her downstairs in his knickers and he's going to see her later on. Charlie Haas desperately tries to win back her attention. What a door. Kurt Angle wheels up and laughs at him. He says Charlie used to be his protege and now he's embarrassing and he has a new protege who is better than Charlie Haas. Elsewhere, Sable says that she looks better than Torrie Wilson does. Here comes Charlie Haas and it's his old music that sounds like somebody dumping in their nappy over and over again. It's Charlie Haas taking on Luther Reigns. He is the new protege of Kurt Angle. I love how he's all hunched over pushing a wheelchair. It doesn't exactly make him look impressive. That one guy in the comment section is going nuts right now. How is it that a wrestler who was supposed to be good like Charlie Haas has been involved with so much rubbish this year? Charlie tries a quick roll up and then he's elbowed and kicked down. Luther keeps slamming Haas in the corner with a completely silent crowd. A backbreaker gets Luther a 2. Haas finally does some drop kicks, but he can't get a knockdown. Luther is in a bad mood and he just hurls him out of the ring. Luther drives Haas into the ring apron. Nice gorilla press slam from Luther now for a 2. Luther puts on a submission now that even Taz can't have a name for. He ends up calling it the Kurt Angle special. Charlie Haas kicks him away and sneaks out of a slam to do a roll-up for a 2. He then gets smacked back down. Kurt tells his protege that time is an issue. He's got that right. I need him to hurry up too. Luther Reigns misses a charge in the corner and Charlie Haas throws him overhead with a T-bone suplex. The Oklahoma roll is just a 2. A German suplex for Haas is another 2. Haas now crashes into the ring pole and Luther grabs him and hits a neckbreaker variation for the 3. He calls that the Reign of Terror. This match wasn't as bad as the internet will tell you. The problem is nobody cares a huge amount about either of these guys, especially Luther. It's a star and a half. But there's no need to laugh because it's time for a quick commercial break.
Who's that wrestler?
JBL talks about his match with Eddie Guerrero at Judgment Day and how vicious it was. He brags that he won the match, but he's annoyed that Eddie got himself DQ'd. Tonight he's going to ring his cowbell because there will be no DQs tonight in the Texas Bull Rope match. He swears tonight he will become the new WWE Champion. Mighty fine hat you've got there, JBL. The Cruiserweight title will be on the line now. Hopefully this is going to be better than the one at Judgment Day. It wouldn't have to do much better to be better than that one. Funnily enough, Chavo Guerrero is involved once again as he challenges for Rey Mysterio's Cruiserweight title. Does anybody else prefer Rey's original WWE theme? Maybe it just reminds me of happier times, I don't know. The match feels like it's on fast forward after watching the last match. Rey instantly comes close with some pins. Chavo shows he doesn't suck by coming close with his own pins. Rey doesn't allow Chavo to work on his arm, instead he wants to work on Chavo's arm. A nice springboard moonsault from Rey is caught now, but Rey is able to arm drag him away. Chavo looks frustrated. Chavo misses a dropkick now and gets one from Rey. I didn't expect to see them so zoned in on a body part. Chavo finally manages to dropkick Rey off the top rope to the outside. Chavo keeps going to work on Rey's leg. Rey briefly kicks Chavo out the ring but regrets that as on the outside Chavo wraps his leg around the ring pole. Back in the ring and it's a nice shin breaker from Chavo. He puts on a single leg Boston Crab. That doesn't help as Rey transitions out of it into a wheelbarrow bulldog. His knee is properly done in though. I always like that spot where they kick the opponent's leg out and they flip on the ropes. Chavo puts on a stretch muffler submission now. Rey arm drags out of that one. Mysterio manages to do a hurricanrana now but he's still struggling with his leg. Chavo misses a spear of Rey in the Tree of Woe now. Unwisely, Mysterio dives out of the ring with a senton onto Chavo. They come back to the ring, both falling on their faces from the top rope for another double down. Chavo's up first and he tries to work on Rey's leg again. Rey gets slingshotted onto the ropes where Rey jumps back at him with a dropkick. Mysterio's rolling now, he hits a springboard crossbody and a Russian leg sweep. It's not enough and Chavo hits a gory bomb. It's his finisher, but it's not a finisher anymore because Rey kicks out. Rey then catches him with an enziguri kick to send Chavo onto the ropes and he hits the 619. Chavo blocks the West Coast pop and puts on another single leg crab. The crowd roar Mysterio on towards the bottom rope. Chavo tries another gory bomb. This time Rey sneaks out of it and then rolls up Chavo with a sort of code red. It's over. Pretty nice match. Much more technical than I was expecting. 3.5 stars from the Hawk. Back at the hot tub and Torrie Wilson is here with Cruiserweight wrestlers who are deemed to be more useful floating in a pool than having a match. They basically represent turds in the toilet. Torrie gets bored of them and leaves. They all stare at her ass. Funaki says God bless America. Haha, those cheeky jobbers. Things take a turn for the worse now as Kenzo Suzuki is carried out to the ring on a throne. This elaborate entrance would not last long for him. He recently debuted for the WWE and 1 week before this pay-per-view his manager threw powder at Billy Gunn, so now they must have a match to settle this incredible feud. Suzuki does not like the ass man. Well, I don't like this match. Kenzo Suzuki of course has very strong hands. Billy Gunn randomly hits a fisherman suplex in this match which I swear I've never seen him do before. The strong hands of Kenzo Suzuki are too strong for Billy Gunn. He sweeps out Billy Gunn now and dances around like a nutcase and drops a knee. The crowd groan with anger. Kenzo Suzuki continues winning. It is incredibly hard to focus through the boredom that this match causes. I'm sorry, but a wrestler who has strong wrists and hands isn't interesting to me. Kenzo avoids the Famouser and hits a Shining Wizard for a 2 count. I wish it'd been over, but no. To his credit, Billy Gunn does hit a nice turtle wheel slam now. Kenzo panics and he puts his strong hand on Billy Gunn's nutsack. He hits a backbreaker for the 3. Didn't even look like a damn finisher. The majority of this match had some okay wrestling, but the issue is nobody cared. It's quite similar to the Charlie Haas-Luther Reigns match. 1 star for the moves and a half star because it was ever so slightly better than the Charlie Haas match. In the back, Paul Heyman has Paul Bearer tied up. He says tonight he's going to tip concrete over Paul Bearer until he has murdered him. Forever. Here comes Sable. She will be having an actual wrestling match tonight against Torrie Wilson. To anyone else, does it feel like these two just feuded for years? Anyway, putting them in a straight up wrestling match is probably not the best idea. They frantically charge at each other like vicious golden retrievers. Sable puts her educated feet to good use. She hits a snapmare and another boot. The next snapper special silences the crowd. Then Torrie almost sneaks a sunset flip before Sable drops Torrie on the ropes. Sable slowly works her in submissions for ages. Torrie eventually fights out of that and hits a suplex but struggles to roll through. That's a 2. Torrie with a dropkick now. The commentary team say they can't concentrate and they just keep laughing at how bad the match is. Then we get a meeting of the minds, but I don't think much damage was really done. Torrie doesn't know what to do next. They end up doing an injury angle saying that Sable's hurt. After a very long time, Sable just wakes up and rolls Torrie up for the 3. Her shoulders weren't even fucking down. It was so obvious that Sable was playing possum here. Stevie Wonder could have seen that one coming. The match sucks Sonny Shaki's ass. It's a half-star special. The Undertaker walks around miserably backstage, considering if Paul Bearer will be dropped in concrete tonight. Dawn Marie interviews Rene Dupree by a hot tub. He says he may have lost his match tonight, but he will get even and he isn't worried. He tells Dawn Marie that he is a better lover than a fighter and he dances around at Dawn. Wow, what a dork. They wonder why people didn't get over when they're doing stuff like this. Then the FBI walk up. Nunzio says check out my 15 inches and he shows off his feet. He continuously tries to tell that one joke about guys with big feet. Okay, we got it the first time. In the funniest moment of the night, Rene gets asked if he's got size 6 feet. Taz nervously laughs on commentary. Out next, it's the Pale Rider. He's going to have a match. Once we've completed this one, we would have already seen 2/3 of the Mordecai match catalogue. He's red, he's pink, he has curly white eyebrows, and he looks like he stinks. He is here to free the WWE from sin. He is Mordecai. He will be facing Hardcore Holly. These two actually do have a storyline, and are you ready for this incredible one? Well, a few days earlier, Mordecai attacked Hardcore Holly backstage. Nobody knows why, and we would never find out why. But seeing as Mordecai's gimmick is all about getting rid of sinners, you have to imagine it's something to do with that. What sin do you think Hardcore Holly committed? Was it perhaps greed? Too many chicken breasts? Let the Hawk know. Anyway, these two batter each other aggressively. On the outside, Mordecai sends Hardcore Holly into his little staff, and this turns the match. The Pale Rider screeches as he bombs Hardcore with axe smashes. The crowd are completely silent for this one, by the way, as they punch back and forth. The Pale Rider hits a boot to the face to zero reaction. A sleeper hold doesn't help, and this goes on forever too. You can see the crowd looking around trying to find some form of entertainment. Anything other than this match. Holly fights out of it, and nobody cares. Hardcore stun guns Mordecai, who bounces back and bangs his head into Hardcore's head. That was ugly, they're both down, and the crowd are groaning with anger. They make it back up as Hardcore throws some more clotheslines. He takes what feels like forever to hit a diving clothesline for a 2. All I hear is boos and groans. Holly catches Mordecai with an inverted DDT for a 2 count now. Can we please end this? Suddenly, Mordecai hits a sit-out spinebuster for a 2. Hardcore retaliates straight away with a dropkick. He tries the Alabama slam but fails, and Mordecai picks him up and hits the razor's edge for the 3. That was bad, man. Bad. Mordecai would only have one final match under this gimmick on Smackdown, and then he'd be gone. Forever. He just didn't look intimidating, even if his gimmick was somewhat interesting. Half a star, and that is being generous. Things will somewhat improve now though. You all saw the gore fest last time, which was Bradshaw vs Eddie Guerrero at Judgment Day. Eddie Guerrero, the champion, got himself DQ'd in the end, which meant that these two still have a score to settle. It's a Texas bull rope match for the WWE title. They have to touch all 4 corners, but the ref will decide if momentum gets broken up and they have to start from the beginning again. John Bradshaw Layfield, the challenger for Eddie Guerrero's title. We start with Eddie Guerrero throwing a dropkick and he launches Bradshaw around the ring. Bradshaw boots him in the face and he starts throwing his weight around. JBL punches 2 corners before Eddie stops him from getting to the 3rd. The commentators weren't sure on the rules if JBL has to go back to the start again or not. He does. Eddie gets 2 corners now before Bradshaw dead weights Eddie and he can't get to the 3rd corner. Bradshaw uses the cowbell as a weapon for the first time. He puts Eddie in the tree of woe and tries to snap his neck from the outside. As Eddie Guerrero swells up and turns pink, they move on into fighting on the commentary desk. The crowd finally wake up as Eddie sweeps Bradshaw out on the desk and batters him. Now he sprints and drags JBL into the ring pole, which the crowd loved. Bradshaw turns it around, throwing him across the desk, and I like what happens next. It's almost like a mirror image of what happened at the last pay-per-view as Eddie busts Bradshaw open with a vicious chair shot. Fortunately, he doesn't cut himself in the wrong place when blading like Eddie did. Guerrero touches 3/4 before Bradshaw wakes up at the last second. He just can't make it and he loses the momentum. After a while of Eddie coming close, Bradshaw hits a big boot and a DDT for a double down. They make it up, but Bradshaw soon wishes he didn't as Guerrero starts pulling the rope into him, nutsack first. Here comes the Three Amigos now. This match has mostly gone his way. Eddie hits the frog splash and it might not go much longer. Eddie is about to get the 4th one when Bradshaw falls out of the ring, completely stopping Eddie in his tracks. Out of nowhere then, Bradshaw blocks Eddie and throws him off the ropes onto the commentary desk, and just like the last pay-per-view, the table doesn't break. They just say screw it and Bradshaw powerbombs Eddie through the table. That almost gets him the win, but Eddie isn't going to get beaten on the first attempt as Eddie cradles the bottom rope. I'm not usually a fan of these matches, and it's starting to drag at this point, but I have enjoyed it so far more than most. Eddie Guerrero finally stops Bradshaw's offense with a cowbell to the nutsack. It sounds like a Minecraft sound effect. Eddie is hot now. They do that spot now where they both touch the turnbuckles. JBL smacks Eddie in the back of the head, so Eddie has to play defense again. He clubs JBL with the cowbell, and then he dives at JBL in the turnbuckle. They both smash into the turnbuckle, and Eddie celebrates. Kurt Angle then wheels his way out and says we need to watch the replay. Clearly, Bradshaw's back hits the turnbuckles first, so he wins the match. Bradshaw wins his first WWE Championship by falling backwards. Kind of a lame finish to a good match, but these two do have some good chemistry. I give it 3.5 stars. Just the main event now, and I'm sure the Shove It squad know about this one, but first, we need to take a quick commercial break.
Who's that wrestler?
Yeah, it was Midian. If you didn't get that right, I'll take you go deep like Insidian. Next up, it's a storyline about how the Dudley Boyz were failing, so Paul Heyman decided to motivate them. They kidnap Paul Bearer. They want The Undertaker to join them. The Undertaker is unsure if he will do this, so the dead man must now face the Dudley Boyz in a handicap match. The tagline for this match is that The Undertaker must do the right thing, or else they will murder Paul Bearer forever. Not sure what The Undertaker must do the right thing even means. Why is this match going on last? A 2-on-1 handicap concrete crypt match, the Dudley Boyz versus The Undertaker. The commentary team reckon that the right thing is for The Undertaker to lay down to give the Dudley Boyz a big win of their career. Wow, great match that we have here. Heyman demonstrates what's going to happen to Paul Bearer. Concrete fools. Wow, so this poor man has already lost his feet and the match hasn't even begun. Bubba tells The Undertaker to lay down. The bell rings. He pauses for what feels like 5 minutes. Bubba starts screaming, lay down again. Taker acts like he's doing it, but then he chokes out Bubba Ray. He's about to do a double choke slam. Paul Heyman screams that isn't doing the right thing. This doesn't feel like a match, it feels like an angle. They all finally start fighting. The Taker doesn't seem to have any issues beating up these two men together at the same time. He wants to hit the old school. But then Paul Heyman screams bad dog, and puts more concrete into Bearer's boxers. Paul Heyman sobs and screams save me. We go back to the Dudleys beating up The Undertaker, nothing that interesting. The dead man hits a DDT to Bubba, and Devon gets a bat body drop and a side slam. Taker walks up the ramp, turning his attention to Heyman. Bubba whacks Taker from behind. Heyman screams, I warned you, and now it's over. Bearer smiles as his box fills up with more porridge. Randomly, Bubba Ray is the one who doesn't want to commit murder, and he forces the lever back up again against Heyman's wishes. The Dudleys would like a victory over The Undertaker. They beat him up for a few more minutes. It's incredibly hard to care. The Undertaker makes his comeback, but at this point you're just essentially waiting for Paul Heyman to stop him again. This is an impossible situation for The Undertaker. Devon has to resort to a smack to the slash zone. The Dudleys give The Undertaker a Dudley device. Paul Heyman waddles down the ramp. Taker sits up and stares at Heyman, making him dump in his nappy of fear. Taker then hits a chokeslam to Bubba and a tombstone to Devon, and the match is finally over. Everybody looks pissed off. Heyman says The Undertaker did not do the right thing tonight, so now he's gonna get rid of Paul Bearer. A lightning bolt hits Heyman. Heyman squeals like a pig about to be slaughtered. Taker walks up to Bearer and he says he has no choice, and he pulls the lever anyway. Bearer screams no, as the audience are a mixture of boos and not caring. I mean, let's be honest, Bearer was a dead man either way. Paul Bearer is gone forever. All of you know this by now, I'm sure, but it wasn't even Paul Bearer in the live shots. All of his shots where his face was in it were pre-recorded. For the live shots, it was just a random fat man to the fans in attendance that night, which made them dump on the angle even more. Because that's what it was. It wasn't a match, it was an angle. For that reason, the Hawk has no other choice but to also give this match half a star. What a horrible show. Out of the 8 matches, 1 was fine, 2 were good, and the other 5 were all bad to disgusting. I think this show possibly gets the worst rep out of the 3 recent pay-per-views I've watched, because this one had a horrible main event whilst the other 2 had good final matches. On the whole, the wrestling was acceptable at times. Judgment Day was very much similar in quality, but the main event blew this one's away. Plus, you know, Dawn Marie's ass. If it could have just been that for 2 hours, we'd be on to a winner. Armageddon had 1 good match and 1 okay match, and that was it. The rest of the show was unbearable. So where does the Great American Bash 2004 rank amongst those? Somewhere in between, if you ask the Hawk. I'd give this one a 2.5 out of 10, making it the second worst show of the year by my count. But Armageddon was worse and deserves to be buried in a crypt, and if you don't agree with that, I'll make your girl unzipped.